next speaker, and he'll be talking about Rails plugins author's guide.
So this is type of organization that's structured and Java knows exactly how to do it. It doesn't need to, you don't base that all coding code.
Yes.
Hello everyone, good morning. So my talk is titled Rails Plugins Author's Guide. I'm Akira from Tokyo, Japan. I'm on the internet as a Matsuda. I work on some open source projects like the Ruby language and Rails framework. I'm the author of dozens of Rails plugins like these ones: Kaminari, Active Decorator, Motor Hints, Take Filename, Action Arms. Action Arms is developed on the Matsuda.rb account. Anyway, I guess you can find some more trends in rubyasia.com for amazing, jolly good code. Thank you. So let's go back to Matsuda.rb. Matsuda.rb is a local Ruby users group that I run since 2008, I think. Although it's just a local group, Matsuda.rb includes so many Ruby core developer members, such as Matt himself, Koichi, Nobu the patch master, and Mr. Aaron Patterson, etc., etc. We meet up on every Ruby Tuesday, and our last meetup, actually this week, was a Hanami party in a park. And we often have guests from other countries like Linda this week. So if you're visiting Tokyo, don't forget to attend our gathering, and please come and visit us. And as a community contact person, I organize a conference in Japan called RubyConfPH, like this. We're working on the RubyConfPH this year as well, and I hope the CFP will be opening soon. So the venue looks like this year. It's like a spaceship, I think. So the conference is in September in Kyoto this year, not in Tokyo. And CFP sponsorships, tickets, selling. Well, hopefully coming soon. So, let's begin. Today I'm going to talk about Rails plugins. So let me ask you a question. Who here have never created or published a Rails plugin? Please raise your hand. Okay, thank you. So I'm very, very happy to see that you're attending my talk and listening to my talk, because I brought this talk for Rubies like you. So let's start with the definition. What is a Rails plugin? Rails plugin today is a Ruby gem, which adds some features to your Rails applications, mostly written in Ruby. Rails plugins used not to be a Ruby gem, but at first it used to be just a directory in your Rails app, which is placed in vendor plugins, and you can install the plugins via SVN checkout. Yeah, initially plugins were like this until Rails 2, and since Rails 2.1, Rails supported Ruby Gem as a plugin. you can write config.gem in your config environment.rb. And at that time, we were suffered from like dependency hell because it's always so hard to find a proper combination of the versions of the gems that works. We needed to do this manually for Rails 2. Yeah. In Rails 2, GitHub also posted gems from gems, github.com. So you can write something like this in your config gem. Anyway. And the next came Rails 3.0. The Rails support team created Bundler. So thanks to Bundler, we no more experiencing dependency problem, I think. And finally, we dropped vendor plugin support in Rails 4. So, dealing with the plugins is very easy today. Just take a look at gem.log, and there's everything written in gem.log. And you can use bundle show command to see which directory the plugin physically exists in. So I would say that every plugin that you bundle to your application is actually a part of your Rails application. So please read the code. You need to at least read the code and understand what's exactly happening inside the plugin code. It's a part of your application, right? So let's learn how the plugins work in order to understand what's happening inside. Okay? So the most important file in the Ruby gem is, I think, a file called gemspec. And the next thing is the lib directory. The gem spec is just a spec. It includes some like dependencies, the name, like description, etc. And about lib directory, I'm going to talk about lib directory. So how does the plugin, the gems work? It's loaded from the require command. The require is Ruby's require method. So require foo, actually what require foo does is it scans through all the directories listed in load path and finds, like if you give foo, it finds foo.rb or foo.so, foo.o, foo.dll and returns the first, not returning, but it loads until it hits the first foo something. So, this is the feature of Ruby's require. And Ruby gems extends the require, and if the original Ruby require fails to require something, then it falls back to the gem. Next, it scans through all the installed gem in the system and requires the gem. Right? So, Ruby gem redefines require behavior. This is made possible because requires is just a Ruby method defined in Kernel. So you can monkey patch and add such a feature on top of the original require. And the next comes bundlers require. Bundler also extends kernel require. This is what bundler does. Bundler restricts the list of load path and it requires only from inside the load path. Unlike Ruby gems require, bundlers required doesn't search for all system installed gems, right? So when requiring food, each bundled gem lib directory is inside the node path. So the required tries to find food.rb in each gem's lib directory, right? This is what requires them does. And another thing you need to know is autoload. Ruby has autoload. It's a technique to save memory usage. Like, so it's also a method that takes a symbol in a filename and it just like makes the lazy loading until when the constant is firstly looked up. And Rails extends this autoload as well. The Rails version of autoload doesn't take doesn't take a file name. It takes only a symbol and computes the location of the file from a COC convention. So you don't have to manually require user or require some controller, require some model everywhere in the applications. So the entry point of a gem is, as I said, the gem directory is lib directory, and if you require food searches for the food gems food.rb in the lib directory. You actually can put anything in the lib directory, but there's a convention to never put anything but food.rb inside food gem. Right? Unless no exception. And also the gem has namespace. I mean, if the gem's name is food, how do I say, makes the module name food with capital F. So again, to never put any other top-level constant in food gem, to never invade other plugins namespace. This is not a rule. Sometimes gem names has underscore and dash. If a gem name has a dash, then it will become subdirectories of inside the lib directory, and it will make like nested constants, nested modules inside the gem. So I think this is pretty much everything you need to know when reading a gem. So I think you learned basic rules of Ruby gems. So let's actually read some gems. I brought some examples. First example is how we extend Rails components like active record, action pack, action controller, action view. This is how typically Rails plugins extend Rails core components. We use active support onload hook, and we do something inside the block. The block inside onload will be executed when, in this case, action controller base was loaded. Right? We use this for like pretty much all kinds of active Rails extensions. So you can see this everywhere. The next actual example is how we extend action pack. I brought action args gem as an example. Action args, you can find action args code here in Matsuda RB organization. This is, in short, the Rails version of word action arms. You can write Rails actions like this without using params, the magical params keyword. So this is what's happening inside the plugin. This extends action controllers, take action dispatches, send action method. It does something that calls super finally. And since this module is prepended to the original action controller, the super call is delegated to the original action controller with some method parameters. Okay. The next example is how we extend action view. I brought HTML5 validators as an example. You can see this in my GitHub account. So what this plugin does is your model validation. Transfers model like, for example, validates presence of, validates length of, etc. These validations to HTML5 validators. So this is how we do it. HTML5 takes like required attribute. So if a model has a presence validator, we put required field into HTML. Right. I think I'm not able to describe everything, so please take a look at the code later, right? Next example is how we extend active record. Here's an example of extending active record. This gem is a state machine plugin on top of active record enum. It extends the enum method to take a block. So in order to do this, we extend active record base inside autoload block, and we call super first. And if the enum method takes a block, then we do something. We do some extension. This is how we do the magic. The next example is how we create a new layer, like something else than app models, app controllers, app views. An example is active decorator, which adds app decorators directory into your Rails applications. But this is really nothing special technique concerning this app decorator thing. It should just work if you create a directory and put a file inside there, because Rails would automatically load the files inside the new directory because it's already listed inside the eager load path. The next thing I'd like to express is I18N generator. Here's an example called I18N generators. With this gem, you can call a generator like this, Rails generate I18N TL. So you can generate a tagalog version of I18N resource automatically. So in order to create this kind of generator, put a Ruby file inside lib's generators directory, not inside the gem name. Right? So the directory structure looks like this: lib directory, lib generates directory, then the gem name comes next, then gem name comes on the bar generator. By convention, Rails searches for the generators or a Rails generators directory inside all those gens. Next is reg task. Is a example of a Ruby gem that adds a reg task. To add a reg task, put a .reg file inside lib tasks directory, like this. Please note that you need to include the reg file, unlike the generated one. Okay, 5 more minutes. The next example is Rails engine. This is a Rails engine that draws an ER diagram. For your Rails application. So the Rails engine looks like this. It's a gem with like app directory, config directory. So it looks like a Rails application. Actually, an engine is a mixture of the Rails application and Ruby gem. And if you put something like this, isolate namespace RD, then it will make separate, isolated Ruby Rails engine inside the Rails application. Here's another example of Rails engine. It's called Motorhead. It's a feature prototyping framework. This uses engines as a prototyping of a feature. So you can add an engine as a feature and without polluting the master, the base application. For example, if you want to add a new method index into your boost controller, just put a new controller extending from the original controller, put something like this into your engine, then this will get called when you call post index, right? We realize this by this kind of code. So usually engines routes will be called after the base apps actions. So the trick is we prepend the engine's routes onto the base Rails apps routes. So if you get post index call, the router will search in the engines first, then falls back to the base Rails application. This is the trick. I need to bring some more minor techniques. Okay. The module prepend. So we're going to deprecate alias method chain in Rails 5. So please move on to prepend. And please do not use anything that still uses alias method chain. Okay. This will be so if you want to know if the plugin is Rails 5 ready or not, or actively maintained or not, please just git grep inside the repository and see if alias method chain is still used. Okay. The next example is designing internal DSL. Please take a look at stateful enums code. We use lots of instance exec and instance eval, and you'll see how this works and how this offers a DSL. Okay. I'm gonna skip this. Okay, the next thing is to never multi-batch for classes. This actually happened in simple call. So until I think 4 or 5 months ago, simple call extended multi-batch core array and hash classes. And so I sent a patch not to do this. So please take a look at this simple call 449 pull request for the details. Instead, please use refinements if you want to extend for classes. I do this in action arcs, so please take a look at action arcs plugin. So how we do this, how we extend for classes without polluting your applications. Okay, finally, the next one is about how to create gem plugin, Ruby gem, and at the same time RBM plugin. It's broken. Okay, I do this in a Ruby gem called gem source, so please take a look at the gem source code. Okay, so finally, occasionally, your Rails plugin, you want to get your plugins merged into Rails core. For me, this happened as weird.not syntax in Active Record 4. So firstly, I created a Ruby gem doing this and sent a pull request. Here's a working concept of the new feature. So please merge this. It works. This is how we did for weird.not syntax in Active Record 4. So, as a conclusion, now you know how to read Ruby gems and Rails plugins, I think. So read the plugins that you use and hack on your ideas and solve your problems, then share your solutions on GitHub. Thank you.
Again, you're free to ask questions. No questions. Okay, we're gonna end it. Thank you very much. We're gonna have a 25-minute break. And we're gonna resume again